Hi, and welcome to episode 21 of the Dittmer Knittery podcast. My name is Bev. I'm here to make connections with others in the fiber community. I hope you'll leave a comment or contact me in some other way, perhaps by email. You'll find information about how to contact me, about my email address and other information about how to contact me in the description box below. In that description box, you will also find the links I mentioned during the podcast today. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning subscriber, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. I've had an idea, so watch the next few episodes while I develop this idea. Watch for the next few episodes for something that will start next month and run into the fall. Like I said, it's an idea, it's in development, so I'll be telling more about that soon. On the last video, I talked a little bit about the fall, and the rest of that video was about one work in progress. Today, I have four finished objects, including the previous work in progress and a very unusual finished object for me that I designed and knitted. So, relax, get yourself a beverage, get your knitting or crochet or whatever you like to do, and be here and now with me for a few minutes. You had a preview of one of my finished objects. As Ingrid of Ingrid's Inspirations would say, oh, my hat. A lot of people ask for hats. I had to wait till I felt like doing it. This hat is made from, of course, 100% wool. This is Patton's Classic Wool and some other off-brand wool that I had in my stash. I knitted the hat by hand. I felted it in hot water by hand. I shaped it by hand. I actually set it on a bottle, a drink bottle, that just held it up off the table. And as it dried throughout the day, I would walk by and curl up the edges of it and shape it. And then when it was dry, I added the embellishment of this needle felting. And the needle felting was done with Knit Picks palette yarn and a felting needle. I think that came out pretty well. And of course, hats could be made to match bags. Perhaps like the bags I'm about to show you. I showed these bags unfelted on episode 16. I have two completed felted bags to show you. They're both made from Knit Picks palette yarn. Here's the first one. And like I said, I did show both of these as unfelted bags on episode 16. And then I felted them in hot water. I added a button. There's the first one. Here's the next one. Let you get a look at that cute button there. I don't think either one of these bags needs any further embellishment. I'm quite pleased with them how they are right now. I like the colors, the way the colors blended, which is representative of quite a bit of my work, is this color blending to create somewhat of a landscape effect. And I'm pretty happy with both of these small purses. The next finished object doesn't need any embellishment either. This is the basket, the Tunisian crochet basket that I said that I probably wouldn't be felting anytime soon. But I just had to see what it was going to look like when it was felted, especially before I started the next Tunisian crochet project to felt. I really wanted to see what it was going to look like felted. You can see it unfelted on episode 20, where on episode 20 I called it a bag again and again. Sometimes I called it a basket correctly, but other times, quite a few times, I said something about the bag, and it was clear I was talking about the basket. I hope you'll forgive me. So here it is, finished. In the felting process, the stitches do lose some detail. I know this. I know this is going to happen. I expect it, and I enjoy it. This dramatic change is part of why I enjoy the felting so much. But it can really be a surprise to see how much the object changes during the felting process. And I have quite a lot of experience at felting knitted items, but not as much experience at felting crochet. So while I can often predict the results of felting knitting, I can't yet predict the results of felting crochet. But what I'm doing here is giving me the experience and the knowledge to begin to be able to predict what felted crochet is going to look like. I showed this to Lisa on LadybirD Loves channel, Lisa of LadybirD Loves. And she said, I don't know if I'm quoting her exactly, but she said something like, it lost its Tunisianness. And yes, it did somewhat. And it doesn't show as well on camera as it does in real life, that there is some detail, some texture left of the Tunisian crochet. No, you're not able to see it on camera, but there is just the slightest bit of wonderful Tunisian crochet texture left. And here's the beautiful bottom of the bag. Here's the beautiful bottom of the basket. I think overall it turned out quite nice. For this basket, I didn't expect these results. I'm thrilled. I am so happy with the way this turned out. It does absolutely stand up on its own. If I set it down, it does not collapse whatsoever. Stands up by itself. The sides are stiff. And it stands up on its own. So it can be carried, or it can be sitting there open with something to display in it. It's just a really great result in a very fun project. I make things and felt them. At this point, I don't try to stop myself. Of all the things I've ever made, the ones I like the best, the ones that other people most admire, are those things I made when I let myself do whatever I wanted to do. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what I hope to keep doing. The next thing I have to show you, the next finished object, something I wanted to do because a friend asked for it, some wrist warmers. I call these Christie's Wristies. So something pretty unusual for me. And it's just stockinette stitch and 1x1 ribbing and a seam with a place for the hole, with a place for the thumb. And although the whole thing is knitted, I slip stitch crocheted around the thumb opening just to give it a little body. It needed a little support right there. But otherwise it's all knit and then seamed with a mattress stitch. Very simple. I measured my hand. I made a swatch. I got a good stitch count. I made it so complicated. I can't believe how complicated I made it. I took a whole day thinking about how I wanted to do it, how I wanted the yarn to come out, playing with the yarn. I made several false starts to end up making something that turned out, yes, to be quite simple. And the person who has the photographs of those false starts, I would appreciate it, and you know who you are. Please, I would appreciate it if you would, if you're watching me, if you would please destroy those photographs. Thank you. I made this on my knitting machine. The whole thing, except for binding off on each end and the seam. The ribbing, everything I made on the knitting machine. Now the knitting machine does not do ribbing. I had to hand manipulate stitches to create the ribbing, which is not hard to do. Like I said, once I finally got to the simplicity of the idea, I knitted this up. I wrote it down. I wrote my first machine knitted pattern. And then I was all happy with myself. I thought, I have this figured out. This is going well. I had both of the mitts finished except for the seaming. I looked at it. I thought, oh, that looks good. I'm all done. And I snipped off the yarn. And I hadn't seamed it yet. I could have seamed it with this yarn if I'd have left it attached. That's two ends I have to weave in that I wouldn't have had to weave in. So when I did that to the first mitt, I cut the yarn off too soon. I set it aside and I finished the second one. And yes, I'm counting one. I am counting one wrist warmer or fingerless mitt, however you'd like to wear it. I am counting that as a finished object. I had several skeins of this yarn in my stash. This is from Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee Fair Isle yarn. Now I don't see any price tag on it, but it doesn't seem like something I would have paid full price for. It is 80% acrylic, 20% alpaca, which is maybe why I purchased it, because I like that content. And it is very pretty, and it works up very nicely. It didn't create much of a Fair Isle effect on this small object, but it worked just fine for what I wanted it to do. It made some color changes in the mitt, and this is the color that I really wanted to come out. So I managed to make that mostly the main color of the mitt, and I think that my friend will like her Christie's Wristies. That just about finishes this video. Let me take a little look at my notes. Remember to watch over the next few weeks for some news about something that will start happening in July and run through the fall. While you're waiting, you could watch some of my other videos. There's at least one of you. You know who you are if you're watching. There's at least one of you who has been watching all of my videos and leaving the nicest comments. And she emailed me, and it's so nice to make a connection. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know if I should say your name, so I think you know who you are. Thank you for watching, commenting, and emailing me. I'm glad you're enjoying watching my videos. And I created a playlist. I put all of my videos in one playlist so that if you should want to watch them all, they're available for you to run one right after the other. There's a couple of channels I'm going to mention. They are not exactly new channels. One of them has been around for a few months, one a few years, but they've been putting out new content. New, interesting, vital content that I think you'll enjoy. I'm going to mention them here, and I'll tell you that you need to watch them because they're good, because you'll like them. Have I ever recommended a channel that you didn't enjoy? Let me know if I have, because I think you probably, if you have followed my recommendations, you probably have enjoyed watching the channels that I've recommended. I would like to suggest that you watch Debra of Crochet, Stuff, and Life with Debra, and Gina of the Knitting Turnpike. Take a look. I think you'll enjoy their videos. Please take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and I will see you soon. Thank you for watching.